I tried making a molten lava cake for the first time. This is basically a mug cake, but with a cool party trick. According to the recipe, this batter is supposed to fill 4 ramekins, so I was a little sus when I only had enough for 3. But I dolloped that Nutella in, baked it on up. Okay, but this part was kind of hard. Definitely felt like a Teletubby here. But once we got the flip down, it came out looking kind of flat. This was a bit underwhelming. Well, ice cream makes everything taste better, and my god was this good. Making food at home to take down capitalism. Apparently strawberry Pop Tarts are where it's at, but are they actually easier and better than store-bought? As much as I would have loved to make pie crust from scratch, that's a lot of work. So this was easy as cake. So I baked these on up, and it's icing time. But this icing ended up being way too thin. I'm just gonna thicken this up and go in for a second coat. No shrinkflation here. These really got me. They definitely look way better than store-bought, and taste better too. Does microwaving Tung Hulu actually work? Apparently, this is to make the process a lot easier. But of course, my brain is pretty sus about it. The video I followed said to add sugar, water, and microwave for 8 minutes. But aren't microwaves vastly different? My biggest question is, how will you know when the sugar gets hard? Honestly, why would anyone use a stovetop if this is the method you can use? But did this actually work? Yeah, the sugar didn't get hot enough. This is a nope for me. I tried making cinnamon rolls, but accidentally made this recipe instead. I got inspired by this guy baking whatever this is, but wanted to try it with a twist, and honestly, this seems like it would be the easiest thing to have made. The rest is just frying. Yeah. It has its days. Okay, but 2 to 3 minutes in this, and I am digging these swirls. Get that cinnamon sugar all up in there, and you are left with what I like to think is the perfect cinnamon donut. Wink. Okay, no, but really this is actually good. I tried making s'mores, but ended up making this instead. I started with the idea of using chocolate, dawning on me that would just end up being fudge. So I tried chocolate cereal instead, and from that point, we are making magic.
Oh no. Don't do that.
Then mix in all those add-ins, but these are kind of not sticking to anything. So I decided to throw it in the oven for 5 minutes. Fire is a broil we can all appreciate, except I'm really bad at cutting things straight. I still think they came out pretty good, and taste delicious too. Making Jolly Rancher Tung Hulu in the microwave to see if it actually works. The last time I tried this, it kind of failed, but I heard a lot about how I screwed up, so this time, I'm deferring to Nick's video. He usually steers me right, and says to microwave these Jolly Ranchers, but these came out boiling in under 1 minute, and didn't quite crack when I did the test. So I put them in again for about 30 seconds, and I kid you not, this cherry flavor got burnt a bit. Well, good thing we have a plan B. B is in blue. And this looks a lot better. Hear that crunch? And tastes good too. I tried making the Japanese fried whipped cream sandwich. But how easy is this actually to make? Frying these up got me a little sus. Are the slices even thick enough to cut into without breaking them? No, they are not. So I tried again, and spoiler alert, this still didn't work. But I filled it up with whipped cream anyways because I wanted to see the results. Yeah, I ain't got time for this. I also went kind of basic, and just used 2 slices of the fried bread to make a whipped sandwich. I gotta say, that filled her up pretty nicely, and deliciously sweet. I tried making Tung Hulu croissants, but with a twist. For some reason, I'm obsessed with cream-filled things. But turns out creating holes in croissants to add filling is a lot harder than it looks. But hey, at least the Tung Hulu part was easy, right? Wrong. Tung Huluing the croissant? Good. Tung Huluing your fingers? Not good.
Ow! That's how you burn your finger.
But after all the blistery fingers and tears, I now present to you the Creme Brulee Tung Hulu Croissant. And holy hell does this taste good. I tried making ice cream sandwiches using the best chocolate chip cookie recipe I found on the internet. This is literally my go-to cookie recipe, and I am obsessed. They always come out so soft and chewy, but these came out unnecessarily huge. Oops. Also, I forgot how tempting these are because I just wanted to eat them super warm. But no. I waited 9 hours before slathering that ice cream on there with such a janky method because we don't have one of those fancy cutters, and bit into it. Okay, that's a lie. I waited 10 minutes. But when I actually waited the 10 hours, these did end up tasting perfect. The internet said that you could turn gummies into marshmallows, but I was a bit skeptical. First up, I wanted to use strawberry gummies, but they were actually a little harder to melt than expected. Melt, damn it! 20 minutes later, this ended up being a total bust.
What is happening? Ah!
So I tried using fuzzy peaches like the video did, which definitely melted a lot easier. But by the whipping stage, I wasn't sure if this was gonna work. Wait 24 hours, and well, bro, I don't know what you on, but this is taffy. I tried making the viral flattened croissants, but are these things really worth the hype? Honestly, I feel like the French mafia are gonna come after me after desecrating all these croissants. But I'm not the one who invented this. I'm just a minion going in blind. And of course, I didn't stop there. I wanted to stuff one with Nutella and one with cheese, just to see if it'll taste any different from the original. Finally, get a little dip on the edge, and there you go. These would be getting those ASMR sounds, but I don't got nails. But oh my god, are they delicious. I had this insane idea to combine 2 of my favorite desserts, but I was a little skeptical about it. Melting this chocolate into the Rice Krispies just had me thinking, wait, why didn't I just buy Cocoa Rice Krispies? And oh my, the upper body strength right now. My arms are noodles. I've never made a fudge this way before, but it's apparently supposed to be really easy. But I'm a little disappointed this came out looking more like a pudding than it did a beautiful drizzle. Note, don't drop your sprinkles. Okay, honestly, these came out looking kinda wild, but I'm here for it. These are actually really good. Making random foods to get rid of my leftovers. I always have old bananas lying around, and most times I don't want to make banana bread, so I decided to make this recipe instead. This is feeling a little like a cinnamon roll. My worry is that I didn't have a big enough pan to hold all the balls in, because ideally I want these to stick together. But this is fine. Get this into the oven, and it's the moment of truth. Whoop. Well, in theory, this was supposed to work. Back into the pan you go. I'ma just drizzle and eat it like this. And oh boy, were these good. I tried making the viral chocolate bar, but with a twist. But I was a little sus about making this because of how hard it is to temper chocolate. Just don't heat it too high, the internet says, which is what I tried. But what the heck is this mess? Okay, this is a disaster, but I am committed still, so let's get the insides of this taken care of. The lengths will go to shove random stuff into chocolate bars. And hey, second time around, this kind of worked. We got that crack and everything. Happy to note that this was delicious. I tried making watermelon ice cream out of a real watermelon, but will this actually work? So I wasn't sure how this would turn out, mainly because the recipe I followed said to juice the watermelon and dump it into cream. But then this happened. Science! So what am I supposed to do? Go halfway through the freezing process and continuously mix it? Yup, that's exactly what I had to do. And of course, then it turned into a brick. I was fully over it at this point, so I decided to cheat and use my Creamy. I wanted this to turn out as beautiful ice cream slices, but like, this is a lot of work for a frozen watermelon. I tried making churro pretzels because it was claimed they were pretty easy, but will these actually taste any good? I got real excited when I found these cinnamon chips. You mean to tell me these existed this whole time? I can't. And honestly, I should have been moving way faster here because I didn't realize that this chocolate would solidify so fast. And we needed to get that sugar mixture in to coat before the chocolate dries. Just trying to casually shake this all up like a crazy person. I'm hoping these will taste a lot better than they look. These are actually delicious. I tried making cream puffs for the first time, but was not expecting what this outcome was gonna be. I had to find out the hard way that this dough is super fickle because this came out way too thin. So I had to put this back on the heat and stirred vigorously for 20 minutes. This really got the best of me, but managing to make it through alive, I piped out these cute little, puffs. Some of these came out great. Others, not so much. So after baking, I piped them full of cream.
Yeah.
Whoops. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. Super delicious too. I tried making homemade boba for the first time, which apparently takes a lot of time to do. So was this worth all the effort? My first thought is how hard these boba pearls were to make. So let's try this. Rolling this thing out was really hot, and my anxiety really couldn't handle how intense this was. So I forced my husband to help out. 2 hours later, yep, still doing this. These better be the best damn bobas I've ever had in my life. Making the tea was the easy part. So I made 2 of my favorites, original and matcha. This is good. I'd do it again. I tried Tung Huluing an entire apple using only Jolly Ranchers. But will this give me those ASMR sounds I'm looking for? This idea got me kind of curious because of how easy it is to make this into Tung Hulu. So I threw these on huge skewers and prepared them for the dip of their life. The microwaving process was easy, so long as it's not wet. This is looking like some kind of Snow White poison apple shiz. I'm getting those ASMR sounds. I was kind of surprised at how easy and good this all was. I tried making Jello donuts, but boy was I in for it. So making the Jello was actually pretty easy. But when I was ready to take it out of the molds, this happened. Yeah. So I tried picking them out with a knife. That didn't go so well. Finally, my husband came in with the big guns, but I think it was at this point I knew that wasn't gonna happen. Luckily, I decided to keep the remains in a storage container. Then I ended up cutting it into a gelatinous cube. Straight up though, I am never doing this again. I tried making the pistachio chocolate bar that everybody's been talking about, but I had a really hard time with this one. I don't know about y'all, but the ingredients needed in this recipe were completely sold out for weeks. So after I managed to finally get pistachio cream, I decided to make the phyllo dough from scratch. I only had one major thought: don't fuck it up. It actually wasn't so bad, it was just really time consuming. The assembling was satisfying. This pistachio cream is like butter. Once I got this out of the janky mold we made, I was impressed. This is good. I tried making deep fried s'mores, but this recipe came straight out of my brain, so we'll see if it actually goes well. I wanted to make sure that the s'mores didn't fall apart in the oil, so I used chocolate kind of like a glue to hold these 2 pieces together up until I can freeze it. And apparently you get a grotesque mess. At least these will be covered with batter. Fry them on up. Turn, you damn things. At least no s'mores were hurt in the process. They actually came out great. I tried making this 3-ingredient fudge, and if this guy can do it on a plane, then I should be able to do it in my kitchen. Right? Okay, look, melting the chocolate was easy, but adding the other stuff is when things start to get weird. And with how this looks, I was ready to throw it out the window. But I committed, threw in some cotton candy colors, and pressed them down manically. And after 2 hours, these weren't as thick as his were, but they did hold their shape. Tasted pretty refreshing too. I wanted to make something easier than those viral chocolate bars, but accidentally made this instead. So I took my tempered chocolate and poured it on a baking sheet. Originally, this was giving me chocolate bark vibes, so I decided to add some cookie flavors. But I definitely overfilled the sheet. So I decided to pour more chocolate over top. But gotta be honest, that did not look pretty. Then I added a bunch of white swirls, got those cracks in. I'm all for this. This tasted great. This trending masterpiece is apparently so good that it had Jordan throwing his glasses across the room. So you know I had to try it. To be honest, this whole experience is giving me banana boat vibes, but probably way better because we know that puff pastry is gonna have some crisp to it. So wrap that banana tightly to keep it all together. Bake. These are hot suckers. Don't mind me, I'm just coming in hard, adding even more sugar to this diabolic case. If this is what people mean when they say eat your fruit and vegetables, then sign me up. This is delicious. I tried making a Choco Taco for the first time, and from sources I found online, apparently you could take a waffle cone and transform it into a taco shape. Except this didn't work for me, like at all. But when times are desperate, the Dutch have your back, and these actually were easy to shape. So I got some ice cream in the ready and was starting to feel a lot more confident about this recipe. But things started getting messy pretty quick. The ice cream was melting, and the chocolate absolutely did not stick to the taco. This is the only good one that came out. The others, I don't want to talk about it, but that's okay. Tasted delicious. I tried making the viral cracked ice latte, but with a twist. So the key to getting this to work is using tempered chocolate. And since we've been melting and cracking a bunch of chocolate lately, I learned that if you don't melt your chocolate too high, it actually stays tempered. Gasp. But melting chocolate can be a disastrous mess. And I'm not much of a coffee drinker, so I thought it would be fun to make an iced hot chocolate instead. And moment of truth, will this crack? Yes! That was surprisingly easy. It's tasty too. Making easy cold foods to beat the heat stroke. So when I started juicing these lemons, I didn't realize that the second ingredient in this recipe was gonna be carpal tunnel. And about 1,000 lemons later, we finally have a single cup of juice. Just kidding. This was only 6. Toss this into a blender, but this is giving me some kind of weird goopy vibes. Or a milkshake? I have no idea anymore. And this frozen lemonade is looking swell and tasting good. Definitely making this again. Making impulsive foods to solidify those weird cravings. I had this idea to make a pistachio creme brulee donut, so filling them up shouldn't be an issue. So I thought. The recipe said to heat this to 150 degrees, but that was a damn lie because this was fully dripping out. So in times of trouble, bring out the Nutella. But during the sugar coat, this all started to crystallize. This is why I can't invent things. But this actually tasted good.